Welcome, folks, to another episode of Who's Ghost Stories. We've got a special one today as we're doing a little travel episode.
This is also our wrap-up to the...
This is also our last
Back
back
to
school
special. I know we haven't been able to do a lot of traveling this year as much as we want, but luckily with prices slowly going down, we might be able to do a few more here. There's a couple big ones I've been working on, waiting to hear back on the last few things, but I don't want to say anything until
We know for sure.
I hear from those people. And if you're watching this, get back to me quicker.
Yeah, be those people.
Now, yeah, in the past, get back to me quicker from when we recorded this. But I am excited for today's episode. But I am Andrew Huzar from Huzar Reiki and Readings. We've got research expert Sean, and we've got
Paranormal enthusiast
slash cryptid expert slash the LeBron James of education slash Mercyhurst University expert slash son of Michelle that worked there.
still works there.
Still works.
At the time of this video, it still works there.
Any other slashes I should throw in for this one?
You didn't need to throw in that many extra slashes, but Alex, hi.
He
Professor
is,
Alex plus Wheaton.
he is going to be the recipient of our first ever Slashy Award for so many slashes in one episode.
Oh yay! I got a slashy.
As always, check out our sponsors, Spirit Magicka. Link in the description. Coupon code WHO'SR11. Get yourself some good crystals. Get yourself some good stuff. Buy some good stuff for people with the holidays coming up. Before you know it, it's going to be October. And what's right after October? November. Then Christmas. So, holidays coming up real fast here in just a couple months. So,
Not even disappointed.
get those Christmas and holiday orders in on Spirit Magicka, and then go to our other sponsor, Pet Art Creations, where Sophie or Sally will create an awesome art piece based around any pets or people that you send them pictures of.
Like this.
Or, for instance, Joe and Fifi.
Or Joe and Fifi.
Could we get them to do that one?
We could.
Oh my
They're
god.
gonna.
Oh my god, it's genius.
Well, now Joe's never going to watch. He's not going to know.
Yeah, I was gonna say you knew this.
No. But we are excited. This is Mercyhurst University, another big local college here in the area. A lot of history to it.
Let's see. Alex, is one of your degrees from Mercyhurst?
3 of my degrees are from Mercyhurst.
One of his jobs is from Mercyhurst.
Yep.
Well, at least
No, several jobs.
yeah, several jobs are from Mercyhurst. So
I've said this off camera, but my mother has worked at Mercyhurst since I was 4 years old. So I have literally spent 26 to 27 years of my life on campus. So, like, I am very familiar with the campus. I worked there all while I was going to school. So, like, I worked in maintenance, so I had keys to everything. So, like, I have been to all these places, and I got some extra things to say about some of these. So, but that's...
I was gonna say, Katie graduated from there twice.
Yep.
I was part of the gifted program there, so I was always at the D'Angelo Center and the archaeology department. Yep. I was always down there, so I've got a lot of mileage at Mercyhurst. Megan's played hockey there for better part of a decade.
And where we're recording is actually within 2 miles of it, because it's...
Stone's throw.
Yeah, it really is. It's close.
drive up the road, take a right, you're there.
Yeah.
Or just keep going straight up the road. Whatever. You'll get there.
You'll eventually get there, yeah.
No, but I'm excited to talk about this one. This one's always had some of my favorite ghost stories. And then, of course, we've got Alex, who is going to open the floodgates after we go through just our normal stuff. So I'm excited. Sean, kick us off.
Mercyhurst University first opened its doors in 1926 in Erie, Pennsylvania. This Catholic college was founded by the Sisters of Mercy of the Diocese of Erie, led by Mother M. Borgia Egan. Mother Egan became the first president of Mercyhurst, helping the young college to receive its charter in 1928. It was her dream to make Mercyhurst the pride of the diocese. Her vision would be realized as the college's gorgeous architecture is admired by thousands every year. Not unlike some of Erie's most scenic sites on Presque Isle, this beautiful property has some things that go bump in the night. The first notorious spirit is the ghost of Egan Hall. There are multiple versions of the tale, but we'll focus on the most famous of them. Back during World War II, a Mercyhurst girl's fiancé was sent to war. Just before the war ended, it was reported to the girl that he had been killed overseas. After receiving the news, the girl was heartbroken. She was so devastated that she swore she would never love another man, and eventually became a Mercy nun. Sometime before taking her vows, she placed her engagement ring on the finger of the Infant of Prague statue. There, the ring stayed for at least a few years while she was a nun. However, she eventually received a letter stating that her fiancé wasn't dead after all. It turned out he was taken as a prisoner of war and was recently released. He wrote the letter saying he was coming to see her. She still loved the man, but being committed to God, she was not allowed to wed. She suffered a nervous breakdown and was isolated in the 4th floor of Old Main. She never saw her love, nor did she fully recover. She would spend her time gazing at her former ring until one day in the 1900s, she was found dead in her room of a suspected suicide.
For a long time afterwards, various sisters reported seeing and hearing the dead girl roaming the 4th floor of Old Main. Sometimes the ghost would be seen in the chapel staring at her old ring. Other than that, not much happened with the ghost until decades later. Legend has it that a Mercyhurst senior became fascinated with the ring. It just so happened that she was engaged. One day her fiancé was coming to visit her, so she took the ring, hoping to surprise him by wearing the beautiful ring. While wearing the ring, her phone rang. It was the boy's parents. He had been killed on the way there in a car accident. The girl blamed his death on the ring and took it back to the chapel. She left the college after graduation, but the story of the cursed ring persisted. Eventually, the college removed the ring from the statue to stop other students from taking it. There are a couple of smaller legends at Mercyhurst as well. The first is tied to Egan Hall, but not necessarily the heartbroken nun. Rumors say that there are certain rooms you can't keep a mirror in, for it will shatter. If you happen to look into the mirror before it explodes, you'll see ghostly faces looking back at you, almost like you're peering into a different realm. There are also unexplained lights that emanate from Egan's attic. However, nobody is allowed up there since they boarded it off from the building. Since Egan Hall is connected to Old Main, these could be connected. The nun could be seen roaming the halls, but there is nothing connecting her to the mirrors.
The last legend brings us to Weber Hall. In front of Weber Hall lies a small green island of grass. This small area is beautifully manicured and reflects the rest of the campus. However, students swear you want to avoid this area like the plague. Legend has it that if you walk across this grass, you will immediately suffer bad luck. An interesting extra bit of lore says the nun's ring was buried beneath this island. While that part is often debunked, it is strange how many students avoid this patch of grass out of fear they'll be cursed with bad luck. Like many spots around Erie, Mercyhurst University has some old, gorgeous Gothic architecture. It's a revered location that many locals take pride in. The campus is so beautiful that many non-students use it as a place to go for walks, runs, and sporting events. It may not be on the notoriety level of Notre Dame, but this local college is beloved by many. Its popularity makes these legends even more interesting. Is there really a heartbroken nun roaming the halls? Does she still sit and gaze at her former ring, wishing for a different outcome? Are there areas of the campus that are cursed and spill bad luck onto those that pass? We may never know all the answers, but there is definitely more to this campus than meets the eye.
So Alex, what do you have to add?
Okay. So, Egan Hall was a dormitory until the 1970s, I want to believe. 70s or 80s. It was a dorm for a long time, and it's now offices. And what's even more interesting is that some of these dorms had bathrooms, so there are like little half closets in some of these offices that are anymore. There's no toilet in there now, but it's like a sink and a mirror. And yeah, that is definitely something that has been talked about. Even people that work in those offices have even said, like, you know, you can't keep a mirror in there so they don't, like, legitimately they break. And so they're like, all right, yeah. So there's something to Egan. Something that's not mentioned in any of this, but I think is kind of related, is there is first-hand experience from people I know related to Egan Hall, and there was a story that I read back in 2011, the second time I experienced Haunted Hearst, which is their Halloween time thing. And I was like, the first year I went, I didn't go to it on my freshman year, but I went my sophomore year, and I was like, what? You guys don't even get the legend right. But when it was a dorm, a male student woke up in the middle of the night and felt like there was someone sitting on his feet, well, like on his legs at the bottom of the bed, and heard a girl laugh, and nothing was there. So there's that. But I do know Egan is also the location of the dining hall, and there is a sub-basement to Egan.
Ooh.
And everyone that I've known that worked in the dining hall do not like going into the basement. When you go into the sub-basement area, I've been down there. It is creepy. We're talking like old, just stone. There's no brick pattern. There's no anything. It's like old gray stone. And there is one room that has like the old school furnace in the wall, kind of like metal black grate.
Mm-hmm. And
people have gone down there and have heard footsteps when they're the only ones there at night finishing up. The grate has been opened and closed at different times, like in the elevator, which it's a creepy old elevator, and if we can get to it, I'll definitely show you the elevator. Like when you're coming up from the sub basement, not going down, not anywhere else on the elevator, but going from the basement up, they've heard laughter. Like someone actually had their phone and recorded it when I was working in the cafeteria, and I heard it. It actually was like this. It was like a little girl giggle. It was like high pitched, and I could hear it. I'm like, and I know the person. I was like, that's not your voice, and you were the only one in the elevator. So like, definitely something with Egan Hall. The other thing to note, and it was kind of mentioned, Egan, Old Main, Preston, and they're connected. They're like, Old Main is the old building. Egan was an original extension off of it, and Preston was a newer. So like, they're all part of that building, so they're interconnected. So this kind of fluid, it can be spotted in Old Main, but it was from Egan. It's very realistic. The one thing about the fourth floor of Old Main, it's a misunderstanding. Old Main only has 3 floors, but Old Main has a tower.
Oh.
The fourth floor is the tower.
I always wondered if that's what they were referring to, because we all know the tale of the nun in the tower. So
that's it. The fourth floor is actually the tower. And when I was last there as a student, the math department's offices were the fourth floor, technically, because there's a little staircase on the 3rd floor that goes up, and it leads right into the offices on the 4th floor. And then there's a second set of staircase that goes up into the tower, which is an attic room, and that's where most students have claimed to hear or see the ghost of the nun, is up there in the tower, because that's where she was. So take that as you will. It's the typical, you're bored on campus over the weekend, you sneak up there in the middle of the night, and it's a classic thing that you did on Mercyhurst.
Well, and the other thing too is, this nun was a student there, so she spent years there.
Yep.
Became a nun. She spent her entire
life,
adult life there. And as a nun, you're going to every single part. So even if it's just retreading paths, you could see her anywhere on the campus.
Oh yeah. The ring being buried, that's it's like the biggest legend, and it's crazy to think that so as far as the school removing the ring, that's like a half-truth. It was removed. We don't know if it was the school or if it was a student, but the ring did disappear and nobody knows what happened to it. The common belief is that the school removed it so that people would stop taking it, but no one knows for sure. Outside of that, let's see. I talked about the mirrors, I talked about Old Main, I talked about the tower. A variation of the nun story is that she didn't kill herself in the room, but she leaped from the window, like fell all the way down. Take that as you will. And there are a couple other things that aren't mentioned here. There used to be an old orchard, and it's because the orchard is no longer there and that area is completely changed, it's not talked about as much, but there was, for the longest time, the spirit of a different nun walking what is now known as the Mercy Walkway between the high school, the college, and the mother house. There used to be an orchard there right by the football field. Way back when, before Ward Hall was built, before the football field was built, there was an orchard there. Because the other thing to remember is that area all up on 38th Street used to be farmland. Yeah. Like, before this college was built, before anything, like, it was farmland. So there was an orchard there, and it was said that one of the nuns from the mother house had died in the orchard. And so her ghost haunted the orchard. And since the orchard is not there anymore, she walks the Mercy Walkway. But again, because the orchard has been so far gone from history, that story doesn't get told often anymore. So that was one thing that just wasn't in there, and I just wanted to bring it up here. Just simply because I know it.
Spirit now does a touchdown dance every once in a
while. Oh yeah, she definitely does. Well, considering there was a nun who used to ring the cowbell at every sporting event who has since passed, there are some things about her that I don't know are true or not, but the classic, you can still hear her ringing the cowbell at games. It's like, yeah, sure. There's some other creepy, unexplained feelings and locations here that don't have a ghost story necessarily connected to them, but again, I spent the better part of 2 decades at this place. Like, I worked there for really 8 years. I spent almost a decade working there, let alone going to school, so I'm going to turn it over to you before we might talk about some of those other places in the travel part if we get there. But I'll stop talking for now. Sorry.
No, because they've always been some of my favorite ghost stories from the area, so it is really cool to get your input in on them as well, and to be able to go check out some of these areas.
Have you ever been in any of the buildings?
Mm-hmm. Not a whole lot, but we used to do a lot of ROTC stuff up there, especially for the Mercyhurst hockey team. Do I know the names of any of the buildings I was in? No.
Is Egan Hall where the cafeteria has been for like decades?
Yes, the cafeteria's been there for a long time.
And is it the cafeteria that's in the separate building?
No, okay. That would be the student union. It's a whole different issue.
Because The archaeology department is part of Old Main, isn't it?
No.
Oh, that's a different building.
That's a different building.
Okay.
That is...
Because that building is definitely creepy.
Oh,
the
yeah.
Basement there.
The archaeology department has its own... That's the science and archaeology. That's the basement and the backside to the Performing Arts Center. It is the... oh, God, what is it called? I'm drawing a blank now. It'll come to me in a minute.
Yeah, I was going to say, I know it's the D'Angelo Performing Arts part.
It's the one half.
It's the one half. But no, that's where we always were. And anytime you would be down there and you would be like the last one out because there was a field trip or something, or you were just down there by yourself, it's a creepy place.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. We're going to lock Alex in the basement. Nah, he's been there before. We'll have to lock someone else in the
They used to have
basement.
dinosaur bones down there.
They still do.
Oh, nice.
That's why it's called the Indiana Jones Academy.
Well, I mean, they still did a few years ago. I don't know. I haven't been down there in the last, 5 years, but I doubt they've removed them in the 5 years.
Alex is going to visit dinosaur bones for us. No, I love it, and I'm excited to get out there. I think when we do get out there, maybe some orbs, but it feels like with these legends, everything is very specific to their areas. Like, there didn't seem to be much crossover, which I thought was kind of weird, especially hearing you say, everything's connected. So, I mean, they could be, and nobody's just made the connections from A to B. But it was interesting to me to hear the specifics of everything. What do you got? What are your thoughts?
Well, I definitely brought a digital recorder with me. See if we can pick up any voices, disembodied voices. We're the orb boys. Of course we're going to see orbs.
I'm hoping. I really am.
It's always hard to say because I don't know how much flash photography we're going to be taking in certain areas.
Oh, we'll be fine.
But
Are you kidding me? We got LeBron goddamn James over here.
he still has the key to the floodgate.
I specifically made sure I had my employee, I'm a faculty identification card, so that way if anyone asks, I can pull this out and be like, sorry, I'm just taking these people on a tour. I actually have legitimacy on this one.
That's the whole reason I'm wearing the hoodie. I'm alma mater.
Yeah. So.
You can't come for us now. It's been at least 2 months, Mercyhurst. Leave us be.
I am excited to get into these areas. How about you? What are you hopeful or expecting?
Truly, I want to see orbs. Simply because I've spent so much time there, and I'll be honest, I've never taken pictures while I was there. I've never taken video. That's not true. I took one video, and it was for a project. I've never actively, gone for searching for anything, even though I knew the stories. I let it be. And so I'd be interested to,
I think it would also be harder to work there if you were, year one and, now there's all this proof around me, all of this surrounds me. I don't know if you would have made it to 8 years.
Yeah.
You never would have left.
I wish I still had my maintenance keys. I had the general master key to just about every office and room.
Son of a gun. We could have been everywhere.
Yeah, I would have taken you to the creepiest storage rooms I've ever seen.
You would have locked us there.
No, I would have gladly been like, you gotta see this.
We would have left Joe.
That we would have done. Yeah, I'm just excited to get out and get there.
I think that does it. I think we can get out there and see what we find.
All right.
Join us, guys.
Hey folks, Andrew here from Who's Our Reiki Readings. So, as you may have read in the description, the Mercyhurst episode came in incredibly long, at about an hour long actually altogether. So what I did is I cut it in half. You just finished watching the talking half, where we went over the legends and everything of Mercyhurst University. So come back next week on Thursday, 7 p.m., for our incredible footage from Mercyhurst. I don't want to give away too much, but we did live up to our Orb Boy's name or boy's name. And we did catch some really, really cool things on camera at Mercyhurst. So definitely mark your calendars. Next week, Mercyhurst University, part 2 with our footage from the actual college. Thanks, everyone. Stay in the light.